G'day, it's Joel Rasmussen from Southern Cross Combat, and I'm here backstage at Demolition Fight Series talking to the face that runs the place, Mr. Wayne Carl. Wayne, congratulations on a fantastic event. How are you feeling after it all?
Relieved. It's been a long 12-week lead-in. I'm not the face of Demolition. That'd be Lisa if you ask everyone here tonight. And I think everyone found out tonight who the real promoter was, so she's the hero, so I'm not going to take all the credit.
You mentioned that relief. What does a night like tonight feel like for you? Because of course, like everyone in the crowd's having a good time, but you're running. You know, it's all coming through you and everyone. So how is it?
I'll enjoy it about 3 a.m. tonight. We'll go and get pizza after we back up the trailer and get everything fixed tonight. So it doesn't end for us right now. We'll finish at about 2 a.m. and then head for some pizza, and then I'll get up at 4 a.m. and rewatch it. There's a few fights that I probably need to have a look at. We won't mention any fights, but there's a few that I think I need to have a look at, not live, because it's very difficult as a promoter when you're standing there looking at the crowd, looking at your people. You've got so many other things to look at. So I never make any comments on judging on the night. I'll always go back and review it.
Well, I do have some fights I do want to ask you about just to get your thoughts, or just some crazy moments. First off, the headbutt DQ.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's a rule. So even in pro, if you throw a headbutt, it's an automatic 2-point deduction. In amateur, you just can't do it. So it's like kicking someone directly where they shouldn't. It's an automatic DQ. So a lot of people were messaging me or asking me in the crowd what just happened. I said, well, he headbutted him. And it's an automatic DQ. So Greg's our most experienced ref in Australia. Does an amazing job. So it was the right call.
I think I saw you come up and talk to both parties involved kind of backstage. Everything kind of seemed okay. What was kind of the atmosphere between everyone?
Everyone was good. Once it was explained to Brad that you couldn't do it, he was like, oh, okay. And they were cool. And they come up here and ate some sandwiches and chilled out. So, look, everything was fine afterwards. I think once Brad realised that he'd broken a rule, he didn't contest it. He just said, you know, let's do a rematch. Not sure if you do it straight away, but that's one for the future.
Maybe something new to be added to the fighter meeting. We get everything else. The headbutt doesn't get spoken about. Maybe the headbutt gets added.
I did say to Greg, maybe we need to bring up the headbutts, and he said, I've never had to. So it was just one of these rules that we expect people to know. And for those watching out there, don't headbutt people.
It's the first time for everything. Moving on, I wanted to talk about the Cage Fisher fight. I'm going to give you my opinion. What an incredible fight. What did you think of Cage Fisher's fight tonight?
Cage Fisher versus Tyrone Arvin was my call for fight of the night. So as you've seen, straight after the interim, the shin guards were off. That wasn't for a title, but they had no shins. That was one I really pushed for, because even though they were 2-0 and 2-0, they've got extensive combat sports experience. So they're two of the best amateurs, and I think the fight delivered.
When a prediction goes right, because I remember after the fight you came up and you said, I said that'd be fight of the night. How are you feeling when you're like, man, we do really good matchmaking here?
Look, it's good for matchmaking, but as a promoter, you can't take any... I can't say, oh, we did that, because the two fighters have to do it. So you can matchmake, you can say this is going to be a great fight, but it took two young champs to get in there and put it all on the line. Tyrone looked amazing. Cage Fisher's an absolute beast.
The last time I said this to you, I got it wrong. So I hope I heard everything correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Mr. Allsop is announced that he is turning pro. Please tell me I heard that correctly.
He wants to go pro, but that's up to John. So every fight he says, I want to go pro. But John will decide if anything makes sense, if he wants to go back down to flyweight, have one more. I think he does want to go pro. Winnie's now obviously going pro, so I think he just wants to catch up with his girlfriend.
What are your thoughts on him possibly going pro?
I think he should, yeah. I don't think he has too much more. He's now 7-2. I think that's enough amateur. He's not, 21, 22. He's late 20s and he's good to go.
Now a fight I just want to get your thoughts on. I won't necessarily ask you how you scored it, but Jet Fisher versus Kwame Osei. What were your thoughts on that fight?
I thought it was a cracking fight. I thought Kwame come to fight. Jet does what Jet does, and that's take people down and beat them up. I didn't see enough of the fight, and I never score it live because I always go back and I rewatch it. There's been some high-level fights on other promotions where there's been back and forth on who won, who didn't. What I tend to do is I'll go, turn the commentary off, and actually watch the fight myself. And until I do that, I'm not going to make any comment.
Of all the fights tonight, do you think that's the one that you're most looking forward to looking back at and maybe getting an opinion on, or is there one fight that stands out that you're like, I'm really looking forward to getting to sit down and watch it?
Both the Fisher fights are the ones that I want to sit down and have a proper look at. I think Cage Fisher versus Tyrone Arvin is going to age so well. I think when we look back in 3 or 4 years and you're still doing media, you're going to be interviewing, two of the hottest prospects, and those two to fight each other at 2-0 is just, you don't see it in boxing. The best don't fight the best. And when you get two young guys go into the cage at their age, 2-0, 2-0, put it all on the line and perform like that, it was amazing.
Now, what does tonight brings Jet Fisher's record to what? I can't remember on the top of my head.
Jet would be 9-3.
I thought it was 9-3. I just wanted to get it correct. You talked about Michael's kind of, that experience that can push you. And I know Jet does have that age, so he can stay amateur, but do you see pro in his future?
Oh, Jet, I think tonight was win, lose or draw. It was going to be his last amateur fight, so he will go pro, and let's see what happens.
Just your perspective on turning pro off a loss. It wasn't a bad fight in any way, but still, what are your thoughts when someone, you want to kind of ride that momentum into your pro career? What are your thoughts?
Amateur records don't matter. Demolition belts do. And he's got plenty of those. Look, coming off a close fight, whether it was a win, a loss, or whatever people want to call it, that's never going to be looked at. Once you turn pro, you go 0-0. No one looks back. If you go back through Jonathan Mikulev didn't go undefeated. He went 5-1. Didn't matter to him.
And now the main event of the evening, Dylan Lahari going out there putting on a fantastic performance. Yeah. What did you make of Dylan?
For Dylan to still take that fight with an opponent missing by that much, it was quite funny because when he walked in and his coach wasn't here, but I knew he was going to walk upstairs and everyone knew about the weight miss, and Dylan didn't know by how much. And he just looked at me and goes, I don't care what he's weighing, I'm fighting him. And I just looked at him and said, hey, let's talk to Simon first. Mate, it was a great performance. He came out like he was angry and wanted to finish the fight pretty quickly. I think he loved using elbows, by the way.
Of course, it's a busy night for yourself. I don't know if you got a chance to hear what Dylan was saying afterwards. He also said a lot of very nice things about Demolition in my interview with him. How does that make you feel, when a guy like Dylan Lahari, after that the biggest moment in his career to date, and the first thing he does is give praise to you guys? Yeah,
so he was our amateur champion. Then he turned pro, and then he wins, and he thanks me for it. That's pretty much our why. And I'll speak about our why a lot. That pretty much is why we do it. He's come through, had 3 or 4 fights on Demolition, turned pro. That's pretty much why we do this sport. Why we do this promotion is exactly for what just happened.
I believe we've spoken about it before. You're a gentleman who is very well planned, plan out events, you book things in. The shows are selling out. This is a fantastic venue, but literally at the start of, during the fighter meeting, we were told, stop telling people to come because we have to keep turning them away. Is there any chance of a bigger venue?
No. Club Italia has been there from day one. This was where we had our lockdown show. They do a lot for me behind the scenes. They look after me, my family. They store the cage. They do everything for me. They're amazing to us. Do I want to get an extra 300 people and break our relationship for an extra 300-400 people? We don't do this for money. We do this for the fighters. So you know what? The next time it comes out, Demolition 16, buy tickets early. Don't turn up, on fight day and go, oh, I just want to walk in. It's not going to happen. And again, it's amateur, couple of pros. We're comfortable with where it's at. This for me is just a hobby, and I do it because I love the sport, and I'm too fat and old to fight anymore.
Is there a way we could like knock down a wall or something to get some more people in?
No. You know what? Tonight, if you were inside, how loud it was down there, our atmosphere is second to none. And so many people have messaged me and said, there's nothing like a demolition show.
There is like an air of exclusivity, isn't there? Like it's a little bit like you had to be there.
Yeah. And you look at it and look, I could increase prices. I could do all that sort of stuff to make more money or break even, whatever. I don't even know how this show went because it's not about that. It's about seeing people like Dylan, Cage, Jet, everyone perform.
It is. I'm sure, as the promoter, the perspective may be different for myself as the media. But talking about that air of exclusivity, with everything that happened tonight, we had some incredible fights. We had some very weird DQ losses. We had some close fights. We've had some quick stoppages. It was crazy. There's a feeling at Demolition of like anything can happen. And it does kind of create that air of like you have to be there. You have to see what's going on. And I know that's not a question, but like, what are your thoughts?
That's what we want. Yeah, we want people to come to Demolition and feel safe. My kids are sitting cage side. So it's a family environment. Fighters come up here, they get fed, they feel like it's a family environment and they want to come back. Dylan is one of the highest level. I know he's just made pro, but if that kid doesn't retire again, he could be anything because he is an absolute weapon. And whatever he wants to do, we'll support him.
And now, talking about how the passion and the family-run show and how you don't want to break the relationships you make, in a world that treats MMA as a business and money-driven and all those things, how do you keep that? And how do you keep those ethics?
Don't move venues and have to up my price. That's pretty much what it is. You look at our pricing. It's gone up once in 5 years because I sit in a chair and I say, how much would I pay for this seat? And I move around the venue, and if I'm not happy with the prices, I'll change them. That's what happens. It's not. It is, and you know, a lot of people say it's not about the money. It's not about the money for us. It's about the athletes.
And now, in the interview that I recorded with Dylan, he mentioned he would be looking at fighting maybe Tom Ackley next. I believe he shared those sentiments with you as he was leaving. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
That would be a cracking fight. Tom's, I think he's 2-0, so it'll be 2-0 versus 1-0. Tom's fought here before. He loves Demolition as well. I'm not a matchmaker. Don't know where Tom's at. Don't even know if he's training. He's in Tasmania, so we'll reach out, and if it can happen, it can happen. I think there won't be too many people lining up to fight Dylan Lahari 1-0 because you look at his 1-0 and you look at his amateur career and his 2 demolition belts that everyone talks about. It's a tough prospect, so he'll need to step up, and hopefully, if it's not Tom, someone else out there will say, you know what, I'll fight him.
I talked about, that atmosphere that gets created at Demo. You've talked about it. The tagline that stands out to me, you ain't seen nothing yet. Is there a bit of the chip on the shoulder?
No, that was created pretty early. I know my place in the MMA world. I'm not going out to compete with anyone. Me and Lisa do what we want to do. And if people, I'm not in competition with any promotion in Australia. We pretty much do what we do, and everybody else can, if they want to take us as competition, great. But we worry about what we can control, and that's it.
Not in regards to other promotions, but just kind of within the promotion. Is there that you ain't seen nothing yet mantra? Is that how you maybe approach like putting together shows where like we have to outdo the last one, we have to outdo the last one?
I reckon as you come to more and more of my shows, every show gets better, whether it be lighting, whether it be better. If you noticed tonight, the cage lighting was 25% better than the last one because we spent a lot more time getting that right. We made sure the music was right. We made sure the production, Lisa walking it out, was all spot on. We're always trying to get better. We've added new lights, we've added new seats. We're doing everything we can to make sure the experience for the fighters and for the patrons is spot on. And we talk about how many people were in the venue. I could have sold an extra 200 tickets, but I didn't. I want people to come to Demolition and not feel squashed or in danger and things like that. So it's all about the experience. And everyone that comes to a Demolition wants to come back. I reckon 50% of the crowd will return customers. That says a lot about Demolition.
I think another thing that says a lot about Demolition, yet again, not a question. This was Demolition 15. This doesn't feel like a promotion who's only ran 15 shows, you know. And you talked about that kind of getting better every time. It's already very good. Like, how do you kind of approach it to be like, well, then what can we do better?
There's always things that we can do better, and I'm going to keep that under my hat. But every time that you come back, you'll see something better.
Wayne Kyle, congratulations on another fantastic night. It is always a pleasure to cover your shows. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of the night.
And you are the A side of Australian MMA.
Thank you, my friend.